So it's been a couple of months since I got my Carpuride 702 BS. That's the one with the direct integration through to your BMW Wonder Wheel. I have in the past had a SatNav 6, which I thought was clunky and crap and unreliable. I've never had the BMW connected device, which costs about 500 quid. I have used my phone directly with the TFT, which kind of works, but you don't really get mapping on it and you don't get your other iPhone apps on there too. I did have one of the old Carpuride devices that didn't have the integration through to Wonder Wheel, but the new one does. And I've used it probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. I did a run up to Sheffield and back again. I've used it on the way into work. And what I wanted to do was just share with you some of the things that I found just while I've just been using it over those few hours. Okay, so I'm sitting on my bike at the moment, and that's the way that it looks to me. What I did do was just kind of mount this. You can change the cradle and just kind of tilt it up a little bit. Some people online have said, oh, but it cuts off the top of the TFT. Well, it doesn't really cut off the top of the TFT if you just kind of mount it up a little bit. You'll see that my TFT has got a screen cover on it as well. I hated having all those spots on them from, just from water spots. Now, the problem is that you get a load of glare. You can see it on here, but actually I can live with the glare, and I can't live with kind of it being all spotty and things like that. So when you switch the bike on, you've switched the bike on, but you've not actually started the bike up. You've just switched it on, and this will boot itself up. And then what you'll do is, it should just kind of jump through into CarPlay in a minute. But then what you'll do is, you'll actually start the bike up, and when you start the bike up, it interrupts the power to the Carpuride, and so it'll start again. So my first learning is don't switch your helmet on until you actually start the bike and the Carpuride device is fully switched on. I did have some really frustrating problems with getting my bike to pair to my helmet, and the way that I got rid of that was making sure that I only actually switched the center on in my helmet once the bike was started. Then it just connects through kind of straight away. Next learning point, I did have many frustrating minutes trying to get the Wonder Wheel to work with this, and it just wasn't working. I couldn't realize why it wasn't working, and that's because I hadn't switched it from TFT to nav. So don't forget to do that. Okay, that's a frustrating thing that you can quickly learn. Once it's up on the nav, then you can see you can go through your icons just using the Wonder Wheel, and it's pretty basic from there. If you want something, you just kind of right push and it'll come up with whatever you're listening to. Now, navigation using the Wonder Wheel takes a while to use because you never actually use this. You've never done it before, so it just takes a while to do. And you don't want to be learning how to do this when you're going through London traffic or something like that. So either spend some time in the garage getting used to it, or do it on a long run when there's no traffic around you. That could be a little bit dangerous. So the other useful screen that's worth having a look at is kind of the alternative to your TFT screen. So if you're on this kind of apps menu, that's fairly easy to navigate. You just kind of left Wonder Wheel through to it, and then you go into the car home screen. This is kind of the setup menu for your device, okay? And up there in the top left-hand corner, that home button screen there, hopefully this will just bang me through into it. This is your alternative display. I think they call it like the home screen or something like that. I can't remember. Settings screen, home settings screen, I think it is. And you might say, well, what's the difference between this and that? Well, one difference is that you can swap the units here. So this can be in kilometers an hour, or it can be in miles an hour. I think if you just press on it for 5 seconds, then it'll switch into miles an hour. Well, why do you need both? Well, I've been traveling on the continent, and obviously you can swap the settings on the TFT to say kilometers an hour. I don't always do it, and sometimes I'm looking at signs to think, how fast is the speedo here. So it's actually quite nice to have a kilometers hour and a miles per hour setting. On here, what you've got is the fuel gauge and the temperature gauge, and you've got your tire pressures there. When you press the brakes, hold on, it might even do it now. When you use the brakes, you can see how that's the front brake, and the rear brake does exactly the same there. And obviously the revs kind of come up there, you know, same kind of thing. And the indicators flash on the top as well. So I really like that. Let me just swap it back to kilometers an hour. There you go. So I mean, there's nothing on this screen which isn't available on the other screens, of course. You know, of course you can get to it through this. But I quite like having that there, and obviously you can have your music playing in the background too, as you have this up too. Right, so there you go. If you are interested in one of these, I do have a discount code which I'll stick below, and I'll flash it up here. You need Starman as your discount code if you're going to buy it from Carpuride. Cheers then, bye.